go into your heart and understand that like child labor is not an option. Horrible working conditions are not an option. It's just a level of empathy, a level of humanity that I feel fashion needs to embrace at this point.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for this edition of the One Young World Together Apart series. My name is Monica Moisin, a One Young World ambassador from Romania. In my day-to-day work, I am a fashion lawyer, the founder of the Cultural Intellectual Property Rights Initiative, and co-founder of Why We Craft. Today, we are joined by Inez from Inez Vinoodh, the renowned fashion and fine art creative revolutionaries who have pushed the boundaries of each genre and used their platform to drive positive change for decades. Your activism and action has been enormously important and inspiring. Could you speak a little bit to what motivates your advocacy and what led you to set up Double Dutch?
My husband and I have been in this business, in the fashion business, working for about 30 years now. And, we come in contact with so many incredible people, so many inspiring people, beautiful people, people that stand for something. And at this point in time, especially in this year, with everything that happened, both with COVID-19 and politics, we felt it's time to leverage our network and start pointing our attention and using our platform in a direction that actually helps people. In simple terms, you could go on the platform, buy an amazing gift card that is, a piece of art of an incredible artist or a very, very young artist that inspires you, write a message on it and send it to a friend with the byline that in the name of your friend, money will be donated to a charity that is represented on the platform. So it's making it really easy for people to give money to causes with sort of a lasting memory of that. What it does at the same time, it obviously reduces waste. Like how many more scented candles can we get, right? Like a lot of people sort of default to giving each other like a scented candle or, other stuff that you essentially don't need and that is still expensive. And, we all feel that we actually don't really need that much. And a message of love is a message of love. And it doesn't need to be solidified by something you don't need.
Talking a bit more about the fashion industry now and its current challenges. At the moment, the fashion industry is one of the leading polluters in the world. Textile dyeing is the second largest polluter of water globally, and fast fashion emits around 1.2 billion tons of CO2 per year, which is more than air travel and shipping combined, so it's really big numbers. What changes do you think are needed in the fashion and textile industry to deal with the climate problem head on?
When I grew up, you went shopping twice a year. You shop for winter and you shop for summer, and that was it. But now, everyone shops every weekend, and there is this sort of need for more and more. There's this consumerism that sort of drives, the production of fast fashion and all that. So at this point, literally apart from Stella McCartney, I think most sustainable brands are sort of synonymous with not stylish. And, there's an atmosphere attached to it that, something can be made sustainably, but it actually isn't great looking, or it doesn't feel great on your skin, or it's not a mega designer that's doing it. So I feel like, again, that needs to change. It needs to not even be an issue. It needs to be just amazing design, clothes you want, and yes, it's incredible. It's made sustainably, and I think everyone's sort of working towards that, but in my mind, it doesn't go fast enough. Like there's some brands like Zara and, for instance, Chanel that we know of that they're doing a lot to become fully sustainable within the next few years. They're just not so keen on bringing that out into the world yet. But in terms of sustainability, when it comes to that, I feel like the more publicity, the better. The more these brands can be a leader in the world, and the more we can show people that, you know, sustainable fashion can be high-end, can be extremely luxurious, and extremely desirable. And I think that's where it needs to be and where it needs to go.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying this out loud and sharing it with our audience. Let's still go into a bit the issues of the fashion industry, but with a positive approach. So aside from the environmental cost, the fashion industry still generates a massive cost on both social and cultural sustainability. How do you think we could change these practices? So this ignorance towards cultural sustainability and this kind of tendency to be exploitative when it comes to the people who are working in the factories. How can we enable more ethical and fair practices?
Make a little less profit, but, you know, go into your heart and understand that, like, child labor is not an option. Horrible working conditions are not an option. It's just a level of empathy, a level of humanity that I feel fashion needs to embrace at this point. And, you know, now that they are, you know, that everyone is so much more aware of what is happening and what has happened in the past, I think I don't see any excuse for any of this. And I think there's personally nothing wrong with inspiration, because especially in the fashion world, it is all about sort of lifting things up to this incredible level of creativity and inspiration. So I'm all for being inspired by everything and everyone around you, from any country, from anywhere, as long as you're actually giving back. And I think that's what's now being, you know, quote unquote, implemented, you know, because of the way that people are much more aware or woke around these issues. And I think that's what's incredibly positive, like you said, of today, is that there's no such thing with being inspired and that's about it. It's about being inspired and giving back and helping and employing and working with the cultures that you're fascinated with.
There are various initiatives led by One Young World leaders, and not only, which focus on reimagining the fashion system through a human-centric approach. Mm-hmm. And obviously they need the support and endorsement of industry leaders.
Yes.
How do you think we can encourage brands and leaders in the fashion world to leverage their power for social good and social justice and endorse these projects?
Something needs to happen in terms of, again, publicity around this, so that the people that are working on you know, that are young people wanting to start up or wanting to change things, get the exposure that's needed, so that they get under the eyes of these CEOs of these big fashion corporations and get considered to be hired. And I think it's, you know, fashion is playing it safe most of the time. And unfortunately, that means that there's very little like climbing going on.
What would your advice be to the young leaders of today who are interested in fashion and perhaps they would want to start their business in this industry, but they also deeply care about the well-being of the people and the planet and are a bit worried that working in this business kind of goes against, the climate activism? What would you tell them?
Yeah, just make good stuff, make it the way you think you should be making it, and then with that message, get out there. In this day and age, actually, when you're a brand, it's no longer possible to be a brand and not give back, or to be a brand and not do something around sustainability and change your ways. For everyone in One Young World, you should know that you're that generation. You're the people that are changing this right now, and you will have the support because, people are seeing, these brands are seeing a difference in their revenue, when they are actually putting their money where their mouth is.
Yes, the new generation is very critical and is questioning everything that brands do, but the consumer at large integrates more generations as well. How can we enable, let's say, the reimagining of the fashion system through our purchases as a society at large?
First of all, is know what you're buying. Know the brand, know what they're doing. Again, this comes down to publicity and to the brands wanting the publicity around their efforts to become sustainable, or what part of their brand is sustainable already or is made ethically. People choose an ethically produced product over a non-ethically produced product. The moment that becomes very clear, then more of those products will get out there. More publicity around that will get out there so that the consumer is more informed. Like, as long as there is some kind of support from the governments even, in order to help brands become more sustainable or more ethical, it'll trickle down so that the price will not be as high.
Thank you so much, Inez, for all this amazing input. I wish we would be talking for hours and hours.
Thank you.
It feels you're such an amazing conversation partner. It was such an honor to have you here today. Let's give a huge thank to Inez from Inez and Vinoodh for your time. Make sure you all check Double Dutch. Also, make sure you like, comment, and share the session. And thank you all for watching. Thank you so much, Inez.
So great. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you. Keep it up.